Hello, Lindsay Elliott from Lindsay Elliott Coaching here, and I'm back today with part 2 of my video, Why All Addiction Works the Same Way. So if you haven't seen the first video, I will link to it in the notes below, and I'm just going to do a very brief summary of what I talked about in that video. So I'm looking here at the cycle of addiction or habits, and just really from a behavioural and emotional point of view. So not really, I'm not a neuroscientist, I am a coach. So I'm just explaining it in very simple terms. So what happens is we have a feeling or an event that happens in our lives that in some way is either challenging or difficult or we don't like. And the brain then picks this discomfort up or this difficulty up or this challenge up as some way threatening, some way something that needs to be done with it. And then we have an action or a substance that innocently, so someone might offer us a cigarette in that moment or offer us a glass of alcohol, or we might buy something online, or we might look at our phone. So either an action or a substance comes in, we have a sensation or a feeling of that feels better. And then the brain then makes that connection. So the next time we have the feeling or event, the brain says to us, oh, you know that thing that you did makes you feel better? Do that again, do that again. And then once you have this, because brains love to work in patterns and in predictions and in habits, if you think about all of the habits that you have over the day, you don't need to think about, like brushing your teeth, the way that what order you do things in the shower. Do you wash your face first, your body first, you do your hair first? Getting into the car, driving, we have loads of things that become habitual. So our brains are definitely wired to do this. But what happens with addiction is it gets onto a substance or a behaviour that ultimately isn't helpful to us. So as we go around this cycle, invariably at some point we wish that we could get out of it. And all I've got up here, an A for addiction, get loads of overthinking about the fact that we've got this habit and this addiction and we try to get out of it. So we've got the feeling or event that happens that keeps coming back up in life, that triggers that feeling of, oh, this is what I do. I have a cigarette now, I have a drink now. When I feel this, I go online or I gamble. And then once we have that feels better, that becomes very momentary. And in floods all of the heavy thinking, the criticism, the judgment, the shame that we have about why am I still addicted? Why am I still in this habit? What's wrong with me? I see other people have given it up. I see other people don't need this to cope. And we get really isolated, okay? And this then becomes part of the problem. So then we have a low feeling, low mood. This usually triggers, what do I do if I'm in a low mood or with a bad feeling? So the brain says, that thing that makes you feel better. And round it goes. So then the addiction actually becomes, in the end, the problem. So this is exactly the same for any action, any substance. This process is the same. Okay, so it really doesn't matter what you are addicted to. The exit strategy is also exactly the same. So the piece that I have seen that has been so helpful in my own life and also in my clients' life is to see that this feeling that the brain has said the action or the substance led to that feels better. It's so important to see that the feeling that has come either from the event, the circumstance, or just has arisen within, let's say it's going to use, let's say anxiety. Okay, so say you feel anxious, you then have a drink, your brain says it feels better, and the anxiety feels like it dissipates. That feeling of anxiety, any other feeling that you are struggling with that precedes your addictive behaviour or your habit, that passes all by itself. Now, it looks like, because the brain has made the connection, feels better, and it's to do with the action or the substance, the behaviour or the substance, it looks like it's the behaviour or the substance that has moved that energy on, moved that low mood on, moved that anxiety on, moved that anger on. But that can't be what's happening. because things outside of us don't change our internal feeling state. It's only ever the movement of thought and feeling, which is an energy that we have no control over, that just moves like the weather or comes and goes like the waves of the sea. That passes whether you engage in the addictive substance or not, or the addictive behaviour or not. Now, if you are addicted to something, you will have seen this in your own life. There will be times when you felt that urge, that feeling of discomfort, whatever it is, and then the urge to engage in your behaviour or your addictive substance comes up, and maybe you can't for some reason. Maybe it's too early in the morning to have a drink. Maybe you're somewhere where you can't smoke. Maybe you can't get on your phone to do a bit of internet shopping. Maybe you can't gamble now. And that urge and that feeling that preceded it absolutely goes away. It moves all by itself. And this is true every single time any of us have engaged in a behaviour or a substance that looks like it has helped. It is not the thing helping. The thing that is helping is just the energy, the feeling, the thoughts. They move and change all by themselves. We are brilliantly designed as human beings. Our thoughts and our feelings, we don't have to move them on. We don't have to make ourselves feel better. We don't have to do anything to help our emotional, feeling, thinking state to change. That is utterly taken care of by our design, by human nature, by just how we're built. So one of the really key things about letting go of an addiction or a habit is to see that what if this feeling, and then obviously the urge itself then becomes the feeling, the difficult feeling. What if this urge and this feeling, what if it just passes all by itself, whether I engage in the behaviour or substance? Start to have a look at that, question that. And I think you'll see that it does. And you will, as I said, already have lots of experiences where you couldn't engage in your addiction or your habit and it passed anyway. So really, this is the number one key to getting out of any habit or addiction, is knowing that all we have to do is just feel it. Now, I understand when I say that all we have to do is just feel it. That sometimes is a bit of a tricky thing to do because we've been so used to not feeling it. We've been so used to bypassing it, avoiding it, going into our habit or addiction, and then having all of this come in, all of this discomfort come in. We get really used to going around that cycle. But if we can just, even for a few moments, a few seconds, start to go, okay, I'm just going to let myself feel this a bit, feel this urge to engage in my behaviour, feel the feeling that's underneath it. And if you just keep looking there, you'll see that it passes all by itself, whether you engage in the addictive behaviour or not. And then the best bit is that all of this that has become the problem in itself, an additional problem, which is the addiction, and all of the thinking and the self-loathing and the shame and the guilt and everything else that goes along with it, as you slowly, once you've come out of this cycle, or as you slowly start to see through this, or maybe even quickly, that starts to fall away, because that's part of the addiction. It isn't who you are. You're not really someone who's awful and shameful and should feel guilty. That's all just part of the addictive thinking. And that absolutely also falls away as the addiction falls away. So really what I want to point out here is that the major piece to understand is that the feeling, the urge passes whether you engage in the behaviour or not. And as you stop reinforcing this cycle, as you start to feel it and let it pass, more and more you can do that. You build a new neural pathway, and eventually it just, engaging in the action or the substance or the behaviour just doesn't make any sense anymore. And you can just feel your feelings knowing they're going to flow on. And then all of the overthinking, the discomfort that's caused by the addiction, that also falls away as well. So I hope this has been helpful. If you've got any comments or questions, do please leave them in the comments section below, and I'd be really happy to answer them. And thank you so much for watching. If you would like to be kept up to date with any new videos that I release, I usually do about 2 a week, then please do like and subscribe to my channel. And yeah, thanks ever so much for watching. Bye.